Alright guys, so today we're gonna be doing a bit of a rant video. So I was trying to find where to start when saying what's wrong with season 2, and there's so much wrong that I couldn't really pick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hang out on character select and just go character through character and find the issues one by one. Right. There's a couple things that I can't mention that are through the character, so I'm just mentioning them now. The start of round buffer is buggy as hell. They tried to add that so that our inputs would be better at the start of a round, because they always felt like a bit janky, because like if you don't input it at the exact right moment, it didn't come out, but the moment was very ambiguous. But yeah, shit doesn't come out now. It's even worse. Then, you know, there's the input bugs. Yeah, just your inputs don't come out now. Sometimes it's not even an online issue, it's an offline issue. Like, people have been testing it, and it's just like sometimes you press a button and then the game ignores you. Right? That might be because of the change in buffer windows, and like, we don't know what that is, but whatever. So yeah, let's just start character select. So with Eddie, starts off pretty simple. It's the issue of homogenization, right? They are giving some characters tools they don't need, tools that are on other characters, and it's kind of like just, oh, why doesn't he have it? But like, that's, you know, where character strengths and weaknesses and what sets them apart is. But on Eddie, they gave him a G-clef. They gave him 1-2-4 wall splat, right? So 10 frame counter at wall splat from a jab, right? And that's not a super big issue. That's the one on Eddie. You know, there's several examples throughout the whole cast. But again, like, you don't need to patch that hole. It was barely a hole, right? Did Eddie really need to copy these moves? I don't think he did. Let's move on to Claudio. Claudio, overall, I think is a bit more enjoyable to fight now that they nerfed down back 1+2. But what they did is they gave him a dumb move. Let's just call him a dumb move, because there's a lot of dumb moves that were added. Right? They wanted to give everyone new moves, and they probably shouldn't have with what they ended up doing. So for Claudio, he has a string where he dashes at you, right? And you have to guess whether he charges it up or not. And if he's in Starburst, it's a guard break, and you can choose whether he charges it fully or not fully. So you're like, oh, he didn't throw it out, I'll interrupt. And it's like, no, only half charge it, can't interrupt still. And it's very limiting, because there's not much you can do but guess, right? The problem with this whole season is they added so many things where you can do nothing but guess, right? The counterplay is just guessing, and like, it is not earned. It's not like an Oki situation. It's not like, oh, you got something on hit and therefore you get to do a mix-up, right? It's on block, right? They just runs up at you and you guess, right? And there's a lot of these moves. Claudio is probably like the least shocking one of those, but yeah, just you gotta guess, right? And that is a major issue. Zafina. So for Zafina, we have the loss of identity problem. A lot of people have been bringing that up. Characters have been changed in a way where they're not what they were, right? And like for Zafina, at least there's like a direction, there's an artistic direction towards it. Now she uses the Azazel stuff a lot more. But like, Zafina used to be a defensive, evasive, slippery character. Now she just blows up the screen, and that's not Zafina, right? That's not the Zafina players loved. At first, the Zafina players thought she was nerfed. Then after some digging, they found she might be a bit better, actually. She lost some counter hits that were like integral to her kit since she's been around. But Now she focuses on stuff that she never used to focus on. Complete change of direction mid-season, right? A bit odd, but at least in Zafina's case, the direction's pretty clear, which isn't the case for everybody. We'll get to that. Next up, Paul. Two things. He is one of the couple characters with an actual, just straight up bug. Right, straight up bug. I don't really want to complain about bugs, because especially in the case of Paul, testing it would have been a bit weird. It's not something that you think of straight away necessarily, right? So that's an accident. That's something that's already been announced is going to be patched. So forward 1+2 on block guarantees wall staying 3-2 on block. Now you just can't do anything. 20 frame mid, you get wall speed, right? But that's a bug, so it's whatever. My issue is they over buffed it in a way that is just nonsensical, right? Nonsensical. They gave him more damage for some reason, right? They made his heat death fist, which is something everyone thought should be nerfed in some way, right? Because in heat, he had one of the best heat modes in the game, right? His heat smashes are low at -12, and he has a fast death fist that wall splats from full screen, that was safe mid-screen because it was -13, but there's a lot of pushback, right? Now, it's just -6, which means even at the wall, you can't punish him. And knowing how evasive he is in the parries, you might not even be able to get your advantage back on it. And it beats parries and power crushes. Why does a Death Fist need to beat power crush, parry, wall splat from mid-screen and be safe? Why does he need that? Like, who thought that was like a smart idea? And it spends less heat than it used to, because it counts as a heat move, not a heat smash, heat move. So it spends some of the meter. It spends less. They made it safer, stronger, beat more options, and be able to do it more. Why? Alright, I'll move on. Raven. I mean, Raven, they just gave him plus frames into a guess, right? It's like he just does QCF 1+2 and then you have to guess. They gave him a quick back turn low, which is also kind of annoying to play against. Overall, like Raven was not the best, so giving him these buffs doesn't feel like that out of place, but plus frames into a guess, plus frames into a guess, everything is plus frames into a guess, which is kind of annoying, right? Every character is becoming plus frames into a guess, and that's, again, homogenization and the fact that it's a bit of a dumb move. So wall splat, but if you block it, you gotta guess, right? Not that bad, but there we go. Victor, but I barely looked at Victor, I'll be real. All I know is they made some stuff safer, but I don't think it's that crazy. They gave him more. Oh, I know what they did, actually, I remember. What they did to Victor is they added more stance transitions, right? Which is a common theme across a lot of characters, right? More stances, more relying on the stances, and the players are not liking that overall, right? In the general direction of the game. I don't know about Victor specifically, right? But they're even turning some characters that didn't rely on stances into characters that do, right? The problem with stances is they limit your moveset to what's in the stance, right? They don't leave an open gameplay, open game state. Like, you just have to deal with the stance, right? And that's limiting. And limiting options in that way is not very fun, right? Like, if you over rely on it as your game design tool, like if it happens sometimes, it's fine, but they're adding it way more, which I'll get to which characters do that. Okay, Reyna. I mean, they gave her a pretty decent low, I guess. They gave her a dumb heat move, but it's Reyna's pretty much the same, so it's whatever. They just gave her a move that looks kind of funky, but it's whatever. It's just a big plus frame wall splat, big mid plus frame wall splat, but that's not so bad. Azucena, they made her even more into a stance character. She was already, you know, pretty much plus frames into stance into guess, but they gave it back to her. They gave her stance after running 3-2 with more plus frames, right? And they gave her a full crouch low that puts her in the stance. So now there's 2 new situations that are plus in the stance. One's the lows on hit, at least, thank God, right? But the running move, it kind of feels like having to deal with the running move at the very beginning of Season 1 when you just felt trapped after blocking it, right? At least it doesn't loop into itself, right? Like it used to. But running 3-2, now you gotta guess, right? Name of the game, you gotta guess. Guessing 7, that's guessing 8, my bad, guessing 8. So many people have been going back to Tekken 7. I just got Tekken 7 in mind. It is what it is. So yeah, plus frames into a stance, into a guess. Not the worst offender. We'll get to the worst offenders when we get to them. Shaheen, they gave him some pretty substantial nerfs, but they gave him a G-Clef as well. 1-2-4 wall splat. But what they did is they gave him sidestep 1+2 and down 1, right? So sidestep 1+2 is quite hard to evade because he sidesteps while doing it. It hits grounded, and it's +5. Like, he's not a character that ever really relied on like high plus frames, right? So again, that's kind of loss of identity because like that's not what Shaheen does. Normally he likes low plus frames so he can either do like a safe poke or like move around. Like you're still incentivized to maybe challenge what he does, right? So he can evade with his good movement and hop kick you from range because he's got good range, right? That's kind of the character, right? Like he's a poking character. If he pokes you, he might have low minus frames and low plus frames in order to move around and to punish you for that. But now they gave him a massive plus frame move, right? +5 from that is just, and that hits grounded as well, so you kind of just have to deal with it. That's not what Shaheen normally does, right? They also increased his plus frames in a couple more things, but on those, it's whatever. It just helps the mix-up, which means more slides, but they did nerf slide, so it's whatever. Shaheen, I think, is decent, but again, that sidestep 1+2 move, unnecessary. Law's a huge one for loss of identity. You know how they made DSS easier in Tekken 8? They made it even easier. There's nothing to do. You don't even hold forward, you just press forward. Now, like, I haven't fiddled with Law too much, right? They gave him some like really long range moves that like got good tracking or whatever, and we thought that was going to be Law's problem, but no, it's just they made everything so much simpler. Like, he already wasn't hard to play, right? He had some difficult things if you wanted them. Now, not even. Now everything's easy. They made some inputs even easier. Like, I think is FF4, the move where he jumps up and does a kick, kind of flips you over, he does mid combo. I think they changed the input on that and make it easier. They turned the character that he used to be quite execution heavy in previous games, and now like he's piss easy. Loss of identity. They also made it so nunchucks give him heat back, so he just basically stays in heat forever because he has safe launching nunchucks in heat, and then that gives him heat back even if he just whiffs them. So it's just like, so he just stays in heat forever till he does a heat smash. Bit weird, right? But the main problem with him is loss of identity. Leroy, they just give him more plus frames into guess, so, and more damage and more stuff like that. Nothing special about what they did to Leroy, but they made him a lot stronger. Leo's got a good one. They gave Leo a couple moves. One is a homing high that's plus on block that puts Leo in stance, and the other one is a, I believe, homing low, also from stance, but also gives him stance. So what they did is looping offense, right? This was a defensive patch. That's what they said. This patch will focus on defense, right? The problem is you are being looped on the offense, right? Like with the invisible homing low, right, and the big plus frame high, right, which come from different places, so they're not the mix-up of each other, by the way, right? Otherwise that'd be too easy. Like, the offense loops and you're just stuck into, I have to guess right, or I'm just going to get chipped out and I'm going to die because eventually I'll guess wrong, right? So guessing from stance mix-ups, more stance mix-ups over and over and over. It's more and more of that where you're removing, like, defending is not fun right now against so many characters because shit just loops over and over and over. Let's talk about that low Raven has. The low Raven has puts him into back turn again, so there's more looping. Side step 1+2. If they press you, if they press you interrupt. If not, you just do it again. It loops because he has easy access to these plus frames. Leo, once it starts going and back 1-4, you cannot sidestep anymore. So now you just have to guess. You have to guess all the time. In this game. And it's guessing that are limited guesses. The mix-ups used to be, do they go for the move? Or do they finish the string? Not which of these three options are happening next, right? The mix-up used to always be, are they gonna go for the respectful mind game of playing within their frames, or are they gonna go for something slower and keep their advantage? It was never, oh, pick one of these three options from the stance, and then it just loops into each other, right? That was never it. And usually, if you put yourself into a mix-up situation, you're supposed to get rewarded for it, right? For guessing right. And as the attacker, you get rewarded by getting a move, and then you'll have to work for your next mix-up. Like, plus frames into the button, I hit them, good. Not much snowballing, right? And as the defender, if you guess right, normally it stops, right? In Leo's case, I believe it stops, but we'll see that there's characters where even if you guess right, your reward is more getting mixed up, which is horrible, right? The offense shouldn't be looping like that. Lydia, I think they just increased their damage a lot. I didn't really check Lydia. I think they just really lengthened their combos. I saw like a 15-second combo by Tetsu, like in a match, not even like combo video or whatever, right? And that is the problem of combos. Like, they added so many strong aerial tailspins to everyone, and not everyone had access to them, right? There was some impractical ones, and then some characters did it a lot. Again, that was character uniqueness. Now, everyone's got high tailspins, and because of Heat Burst and Heat Dash, and she's got a few moves that are like an animation on here as well, right? Like, it does like a little cinematic. But like, that just makes combos so damn long to sit through. People have been posting videos where in one Lydia combo, you could do 3 combos in Tekken 6. 3 optimal combos in Tekken 6. Combo length is the problem here. Alright, let's go to Heihachi. Heihachi, I think not much has changed. Just has a running move that puts him into Raijin stance. It's kind of whatever. He's pretty much the same. Right? Panda. Again, Panda with the guessing game. In Heat, Panda has a 15 frame, unbreakable throw. If her back's to the wall, she reverses sides and gets a guaranteed wall splat. So, and it's just 15 frame high, wall splat. Which is an unblockable high is essentially a low, right? So 15 frame low, wall splats. In Heat. Welcome back, Akouma. Except, it wall splats if your back's at the wall. Which is very, very unfortunate. Now, both bears, I believe, have this more stance stuff and more plus frames, right? But I'll get to that when I get to Kuma, just in case Panda doesn't have all of the new things Kuma has. Asuka, people are complaining a lot about Asuka. The only thing you can really complain about is they buffed the combos with high tailspin and whatever, and she does way too much damage now. Like, she'll get 100 damage off of cans, which is a recurring problem. Everyone is doing way more damage than they were. Apart from, like, Lee, of course, my character, and a couple others, right? But, like, the damage is too high, but overall, the buffs are kind of... They're really strong buffs, but they're not, like, that toxic. I'd say one buff that I don't like is they gave forward 2 an extension when she has the Gusto, right? Jun can do forward 2 into the safe laser, right? And chip health. Chip her own health, I mean. But Asuka's one... It's not a heat engager. Because, like, for Jun, if you get hit by forward 2 and the laser to make it safe, it's not a launch anymore. It's a heat engager. for Asuka, it is still a launcher. And it's safe on block. So she just gets forward 2, but safe. Why? Where did she get that? I gotta... And the thing is, if you try to down forward 1 or whatever, she can Sabaki still, because she's still Asuka. So having that access to that for free, crazy. But that's whatever. Honestly, these days fighting Asuka, I don't mind it. She doesn't really have the mad toxic stuff. For Lee, we got loss of identity. What was he good at? He was kind of the same as Shaheen in the way I was saying earlier, right? Low plus frames, because he's a counter hit character, right? Shaheen probably moves around more than Lee does counter hits, right? That's kind of like their difference. Like, he was never that plus. That's why his running 3-4 is only like +3 if you don't go into the stance, right? And even then, the stance is kind of whatever. The stance is just like, it beats power crushes, and it's... You could beat movement, but with the nerfs to tracking now, you can't even beat movement, but it is what it is, right? With Lee, what they did is they gave him more plus frames. Like, they gave him FF2. FF2 was kind of shit in Season 1. They made it good now. FF2 is now usable, but what does he do from these plus frames? Not much, right? They gave him a frame trap with down forward 3-2-3, which is, you know, unsafe if they block. They just have to not press in the plus frames, but he doesn't really have anything to mix it up with. But, like, he's not built around having these plus frames. It's like in Heat, they gave him down 1+2, which is a silly move, right? It is a good, objectively, in a vacuum, very good move, right? Good damage, amazing range, great tracking. But, like, he's not built around mixing you up, right? He's supposed to poke you into making a mistake and then capitalize off of you panic pressing to get counter hits. That's his whole thing. His keep out is where he shines. His offense was always, you know, good, but he wasn't like, he was never knocking you down with a hell sweep or whatever. Like, all he does is poke into big counter hit, right? That's why he still has the 11 frame magic forward, so he still has 2-2-3. Like, I feel very deeply about Lee because he was my main, right? Which I honestly, with the loss of identity they gave him and the nerfs, one of the only characters that got nerfed, by the way, but that's beside the point. Like, I'm dropping Lee. Like, he doesn't feel like Lee anymore. Like, when you use these new moves, which are very damaging, very over-tuned, like, it just feels like you're getting lucky, right? Like, if they hit, you don't really feel that good because they're like dumb moves. And on block, they don't really do that much for his gameplay, right? Like, he is not a character of plus frames into mix-ups, but they're trying to turn everyone into plus frames into mix-ups. And I almost forgot they gutted his evasion, man. Like, FF4 doesn't beat mids anymore. And I know, it's kind of fucked up, but he's been doing that for 15 years, so why remove it now? And down 2 doesn't beat highs. Like, it beats some jabs now. Down 2 is always evaded highs. That's like what it does. Like, he crouches during the animation. So yeah, I mean, enough about Lee. Ling, what they did is patching holes that didn't need to be patched. The classic Tekken 7 Season 3 and 4 design philosophy. Oh, this character has got a weakness. Let's remove the weakness, right? So they gave her a back turn power crush, right? Why? Why'd they give her a back turn power crush, right? They made her offense slightly better with, like, there's like a 2 hitting low that you could block the second one even if you got hit by the first. Now you can't, so she loops a bit on that. But the biggest thing for her is back turn power crush, which is she doesn't need that. Like, she has a great back turn sidestep. She's already very evasive. She has Cali roll as well. Right, plenty of ways to deal with people attacking her from back turn. But they gave her one more. They gave her one more. She had to power crush from back turn. So there you go. More patching weaknesses instead of accentuating what the character does. Right. Jin, they gave him the looping offense, right? Even more than before. So he was supposed to be nerfed. Well, when we saw 214 -10, up forward 2 -10, We saw down 2 doesn't counter at launch. We were like, okay, character's dead, right? And arguably, he is stronger than he was before. He is a recipient of many of the problems I've talked about so far, right? Like, he has the extremely long combos now thanks to his new tools and strong aerial tailspins. So his combos are really long. His wall carry is crazy. I remember there was a time Lee was the wall carry character. That was what he was known as. Now Jin goes way further than Lee. Way further than most characters. So big damage on his combos, big wall carry, big everything, right? They even gave him a mid combo spike, right? Which a lot of people were asking to be removed. I didn't want it to be removed, but I didn't want Jin to fucking get it, right? So again, giving him a tool he didn't need. But what they really did that fucks everything up is they gave him a running free into stance. So you block running free, you're at minus 12 and he's in the stance. They sped up the low, right? Which I'll get to, right? They made a reactable low unreactable just so it becomes a mix-up, which is egregious. And they did that to other characters. I don't think it's the biggest issue on Jin, but it's a huge issue, right? Now, building up, like, there's nothing you react to anymore, right, in this game. Like I said, this is gonna be a rant. I'm ranting. Like, you're not reacting to things, you're guessing now. In so many situations where they force him into the stance, and now usually what he does from the stance is the dive kick 3+4, so he's plus again. And if your back's at the wall, he just does running free, dive kick, running free, dive kick, running free, dive kick, running free, dive kick. You get chipped out like Kuma chipped you out in Heat in Season 1, right? You're getting chipped out extremely quickly. They said this is the defensive patch, and they said chip was reduced by 50%. But they gave a bunch of characters new moves that chip, right? I didn't talk about Claudio. Claudio has a move that does 22 damage on chip. I forgot to mention that. Right? 22 on chip. It used to do 8, I think. And they buffed it to 22 on chip. But yeah, Jin now has looping offense, looping plus frames. So you just keep guessing. And they gave him a low that's now unreactable. Maybe it's 21 frames. 21 frames kind of reactable. With all the shit happening on Scream and yeah, I said Scream because I'm screaming when I block it. But like, it's painful. It's just looping offense into guessing, into more guessing, into more guessing. And his damage has been increased. Kazuya, he's the same character. They just gave him more damage in combos. That's it's whatever, right? Just he already did fuck ton of damage. Now he does even more. It's whatever. But they gave him a homing move that puts him in a mix-up if you get hit by it. See, if you get hit by it, I don't mind too much. But the mix-up is kind of binary because it puts him in a crouch dash immediately. So it's a question of really, oh, does he go for the hell sweep or does he not? Kind of boring, but it's whatever. Now Nina's the same, really. They just gave her a move that's nonsensical, but it's not that bad. They gave her a mid-knee into guns. The only answer is to power crush and it's safe on block. But she could also not do the guns or do a heat engager that's minus 12. But usually she'll just do the guns. The thing is, a lot of power crushes, you take as much damage as she does. So it's just not worth it. And it chips. The move chips on block. So it just has a move that has good range, is a knee so you can't parry it, and you just kind of have to deal with it. It's just a very boring move. Like, I don't understand why she's got that. Very anti-fun move, but it's not like that toxic. Warong again, patching holes in his kit that he didn't need patching. Basically, to beat Warong is you have to look at what stance he's in order to know which way to sidestep. And if he doesn't want you to sidestep, he had to specifically use the options to beat sidesteps, which are usually not his best options, right? That's Warong the character, right? He has to guess if you're gonna step his stance or if you're gonna try and press, and then he kind of hits you because he's full of plus frames, right? But they gave him a homing low that's like 21 frames that has mad range. Considering all of the things you have to think about, you're not seeing that. It's a homing low. So you're always guessing. And they gave him like a double mid that's +4 as well, the war splats. So they gave him more plus frames in situations where usually there would be a bit of guessing going on. They gave him a solution to people stepping him. And now, like, I'm not saying like he's a perfect character or anything, but stop patching holes. Like, accentuate the strengths. Don't give the character everything, right? Characters need weaknesses in order to be dealt with, right? Every character has their own weakness, and navigating around that weakness is a skill. But now the game is spoon-feeding you solutions. Alright, Feng. Feng is one of those characters where they sped up a low. Those reactable, which is why are you speeding things up? Like, you could react to it. It was a good move already, but now QCF1, the shoulder, is now a 18 frame low. And the mid from QCF used to be 22, so kind of fuzzy guarded, I guess, or some shit. I can't remember exactly the speed. 18 frames too. So if he does QCF, it's a true 50-50. And you just kind of have to deal with it. Like, the 2's kind of unsafe. They might have made it safer as well, but I don't remember that. But what they did is they gave him back 4 2. So back 4 is now -10, the 12 frame mid, which is nice, right? He does a high, right? And then he goes into the stance like QCF, and you have to guess. So you have to guess on back 4 whether you have to duck or if you want to punish. And then if you get hit by it, if you get counter hit by it, he gets a free shoulder or free QCF1. And on hit, he just has to... Like, on hit, you get mixed up by the stance, which turns him into a stance character. Like, he had Kempo, right? But that's kind of just an evasive maneuver, right? But now they're giving him QCF stuff. It's not good. It's not good. They're giving him more back turn situations in heat. He can do back 4 into the big heat move, and that's a combo. I don't know, man. Yoshi, he's pretty much the same. They gave him a new move so that he can use a stance he wasn't really using, but the new move is whatever. They reduced his damage. Overall, Yoshi's fine. Clive, more plus frames. They just gave him a +4 move with good range that built Zantetsuken, and that does 60 damage on counter hit. +4, 60 damage. Just like, don't move. Like, why'd you got that? Kuma. I hate Kuma. I didn't even buy Anna. Anna's kind of fine. Like, she's alright. Like, her chip damage is silly. They said they nerfed chip, and she can do a uninterruptible sequence that does 105 chip damage. So, yeah. Apart from that, it's not too bad, but whatever, man. I didn't even buy her. Kuma, like, plus frames into a stance mix-up. They sped up the unblockable grab, right, from hunting bear stance. They gave him plus frames on sidestep 1+2, so he can do running 1+2, sidestep 1+2, FF 1+2 to go into hunting. And now the grab is invisible. The 1 is still a mix-up and beats you trying to press. And down forward 1 is a new move that's a plus frame homing mid. What do you do against a plus frame homing mid? You're supposed to power crush, but the 2 other options beat power crush. It's not binary because it's more than 2 options, but like it's a very unfun, toxic mix-up. Like, according to Nino, Kuma is buffed. People said Kuma's too strong in Season 1, and now he's stronger. They nerfed his heat a little bit, but he's stronger now. Why? Lily, they gave her a plus frame homing mid, but it's not that good. It's a bit slow. The range is wonky. Actually, I don't even know if it's homing. When I played Lily, it felt kind of similar, except she's got bigger combos now. So I should check if it's homing, but whatever. Lily's fine. Elisa, more plus frames into mix, but to be fair, she was doing too much. People are saying she's still top tier. Maybe I just haven't fought great Elisas, but she feels like slightly weaker to me. I can't really tell. Lars. Everyone is saying Lars is top 5 right now, and they're probably right. His offense loops. Like, all he does is 50-50s, except if you get hit by the 50-50, he does what I was saying earlier, which is he doesn't get rewarded with a hit. He gets rewarded with a hit and another mix-up. It just snowballs. Everything gives him another mix-up. The lows put him in stance and put you 2-, so you gotta guess. If you get hit by the mid's a heat engager, so you gotta guess. And it's just infinite guessing over and over and over and over. On top of that, and that's a last specific issue, they gave him a dumb move. They gave him 2 dumb moves, actually. They gave him a homing high that's plus on block, that has crazy range, right? They gave that to Anna as well, but like it's better on Lars. A bunch of homing moves, man. Oh, I forgot they gave that to Jin as well. They gave him a plus on block. Oh, it's not homing on Jin. They gave him a plus on block mid into a mix-up. It's always plus into mix, bro. I can't stand it. But yeah. The running high, and they gave him a low that is now a mix-up on punish. You already had the low, except now it hits twice, and you can power crush after it. So you can't actually punish it reliably. So it's a free low. Jun. +6 homing mid from range 4 that crushes high and occasionally beats mids. Like if you played against any Jun recently, you know which move I'm talking about. It's just like they turned a defensive juggernaut into a casino character. Like she used to be good on defense, great punishment, good keep out. She has Sabaki's parries, everything, right? Nope, casino character from range 4. Like there's nothing you can do to evade the move. Like it's a homing mid from full screen. Why does she do that? Next up we got Devil Jin. I mean, it's just damage buffs overall. And Morning Crow now has an unblockable high, so every time he goes into Morning Crow, you now have to actually guess. Because before it was a case of he either gets plus frames or he's punishable. You could interrupt or sidestep the plus frames, but you couldn't do that for the other one. So it was really just a question of, do you want your reward or do you want to play it safe? Because plus frames is kind of whatever, right? Because he wasn't going to do that much with it, right? So you just had to guess, not guess, but choose. Do I want to play it safe or do I want to attempt an interrupt? Right? That was, not the most interesting interaction, but it was something unique. Now, no. Do I guess? Do I not guess? There's an unblockable high. Just have to deal with it. They also gave him a Hell Sweep that does 50% of your health in heat. And his combos are super long. And it's just long day, man. Devil Jin. Jack's got... They said it's a bug. I don't believe it's a bug. They gave him looping offense with the Jack clap from jabs. Well, he's got an 11 frame jab. It's still a jab, right? So 2-1 into a big move that can be... you can power crush the move, but if you don't, it chips you the hell out. He's in Gamma Howl at +8, right? So with this, like, what do you do? Do you power crush after every time he jabs? Because he can 2-1 into nothing. If you have a high power crush, you can 2-1, do the jump from his move and cancel it. Well, it's not actually a cancel, but like he jumps and it'll duck under your high and launch you. Like, you immediately upon blocking a jab, you have to guess. And if you don't, you're getting chipped out. And the chip damage is so high. And it's just, you have to guess. And you can just do it over and over and over and over. And they said it's a glitch. I don't believe it is. I think they might have meant it to be interruptible by more than just the power crush. But even then, it would still be too good. It's crazy right now what he can do. And his damage is super high because it's usable in combos as well. So it gives him really good wall carry. His wall carry wasn't too bad already, but like it gives him even better wall carry. And it gives him crazy damage. Next we got King. In Heat, they gave him homing throws, which is terrible design. Patching weaknesses that didn't need to be patched. In a way that's so lazy as well, right? Like learning to realign before doing a throw, or like making your opponent stop moving before you throw is an integral part of learning King. Now in Heat, nope, homing throws, don't have to worry about it. But what they did is they gave him one of the most boring moves I've ever seen. They gave him a tracking high, goes high mid-mid, he can charge the third hit, or not. So you just, so straight up, you gotta guess. Does he charge, does he not charge? And if you block the charged version, he goes into Jaguar Sprint. So you can't play it safe, because you're just gonna get 50-50 again, right? They buffed Jaguar Sprint. So the mix-up is even better now. And if you, and either of the options wall splats. And 3-2-2 can hit grounded. Like he can do 3-2-2 as you get up, and like it will hit you. Like it's just horrible, man. Steve, they turned him into Lionheart Simulator. They gave him a bunch of situations that were like, people didn't like Lionheart. The Steve players didn't like Lionheart. The people playing against Steve didn't like Lionheart. And they gave him a bunch of new moves that go into Lionheart, which is a 50-50 mix-up. And the mid now wall splats. The safe mid that's -4. And now wall splats. And they gave him a dumb heat move as well. It's just a mid string. The wall splats. That puts him at +11 if he goes into flicker and +4 if he doesn't. And it's just, what is the counterplay to that? Like, he has a homing heat smash that he can do in the stance now. So at all times, he can just do plus frames into heat smash and just chip you out. It's just free chip damage when they said they nerfed chip. So he's become a 50-50 machine with high chip damage in heat. And it's, why did they do that? They kind of killed Steve, man. Well, they killed Steve's identity and just made more guessing. Dragunov, they nerfed a couple things, but they gave him a 12-frame heat engage launcher from crouch, so it's whatever. I think overall he's probably a bit weaker. They gave him a more stance. They said it's a bit like, it's not. I don't think it's that vital that it's the loss of identity, but why is he rolling around on the ground like a Dark Souls character? Like, I don't. What's he doing there? And Brian, finally. Like, I thought Brian would be a lot better than he is right now when I saw the buffs. And he is buffed. Somehow. Somehow they saw Brian and were like, he needs buffs. But he suffers from the loss of identity as well. They gave... Basically, what they did is they gave him a full crouch mix. And in Snake Eyes, they gave him a +7 mid that puts him in full crouch, if he chooses, by the way. And they gave him a unparryable -12 counter hit wall splatting low from full crouch, while he still has Fisherman Slam, which is -10. So why is he a full crouch character now? Like, there used to be like Anna's thing, like, you know, Yoshi mixes you up with the sweep, that's full crouch stuff. Like, Raven's a full crouch character while standing too, like the hell sweep, whatnot. Lee, like, but most of the slide characters, really. Like, that's full crouch characters, right? But why is Brian doing that now, basically? Not every character needs every kind of mix-up. And, yeah, I mean, more plus frames, more guessing, and loss of identity. So, yeah. I mean, we've gone through every character. We've gone through every character. And like, apart from the characters that haven't changed, basically, they're all unenjoyable to fight in the current state of the game. Everyone is making you guess. Everyone is getting rewarded more for everything. Everyone's weaknesses are going away. And like I said, the damage and length of combos is going up and up and up. And it's just making the game just unplayable. Like they also removed Oki. They removed difficulty. Like even Lee's combos are easy now, right? Lee was always an execution character. Difficulty removed. Lore. Difficulty removed. Right? And it's just, I'm at a loss for words. Like the patch is so bad right now. Characters don't feel like themselves. Winning doesn't feel good. Like, I'll pick Lee because that's the character I played with the most. Like, when you use the new moves and you win with him, 90% of the time, you don't feel rewarded. You just feel like, oh, I did a dumb move and it connected, right? And I'm sure when Steve players go into Lionheart after, like, half their moves now, Peekaboo 2, Duck 4 2, like, all of these new moves that give him the Lionheart, and they just go, oh, well, I did the unblockable or I didn't do the unblockable. They don't feel good. That's not what Steve was about. The counter-hit Paragon, as they called him. Like, I guess now back ones are connecting more because you really don't want to get mixed up, so you're pressing more in panic and you're getting back ones. But like King players are dropping Kings 3-2-2 too strong. I've seen that. King players are hating that change so much that they're not playing King. Like everything is too easy for the person doing the offense to the point where it's boring. And as the defender, it feels horrible. On top of the glitches, on top of the inputs being dropped, on top of the netcode being ass. And that's why Season 2 is bringing people back to Tekken 7, Tag 2, Tekken 5 even. That's why people are dropping the game, man. It's not good. It's not good. And honestly, like, I think we're at the point where it's too far gone. With what they added, so many of those were not mistakes. They weren't oversights. They were perfectly intentional. Like giving him an unbreakable grab that used to be very hard to react to, but reactable, and making it unreactable. Like that can't be an accident, right? That can't be an oversight. That can't be a problem in the vision of the direction of the game, right? That's just the developers said there's a disconnect between the community and between the community and the devs. But that's not a disconnect, bro. That's like it's not even the opposite direction. It's like digging a hole in a fourth dimension to go even further away. Like, I loved Tekken 8 in Season 1. I was advocating for some change too, right? But overall, I loved Tekken 8 in Season 1. And they managed to make it so bad that, like, I hate it now. The game is terrible right now. Like, I can't find a single character I want to fight. The only characters I want to fight are the ones that haven't changed. And it's just, yeah, dark times, guys. Dark times.